I'd like to introduce our panelists, and then we can go right into some questions. First, I'd like to introduce Phoenix Gayle. She is a 26-year-old transgender woman. She is an activist and an organizer for the Newburgh LGBT Plus Center, and she organizes the community in the Mid-Hudson Valley to build power, advocate for the needs of our youth, elders, trans folks, anyone identifying on the LGBTQIA and GNC spectrum, and provide services via events, workshops, trainings, and opportunities. Please welcome Phoenix Gayle. Next, let's welcome Scholl Rivers. Scholl is an innovative writer, spoken word performance artist, and a community activist focusing on supporting youth in the arts. He is also a leader in the local SGI Buddhist organization, which focuses on fostering capable young people in today's society. He identifies as transgender and uses he, him, his pronouns. And welcome, please, Scholl. And if you can't see the nameplates, everyone, how they identify is written on their nameplate. So we particularly mentioned Scholl, it was he and him, and Phoenix is she and her. And next is Brendon. Scholl. Okay, welcome, Brendon. And actually, Brendon was here last year when we did our Pride Month screening. Brendon is a local Ossining High School student. They are an active member of the local LGBTQ community and the Ossining High School's SAGA, Student and Gender Acceptance, is the name of the organization. And they've worked with the Trevor Project for a mini documentary about art being LGBTQ and the connection between the two, as well as attending the annual Pride Works at Pace. Activism has been a part of them for their whole life, and learning about LGBTQ history is very important to them as a way to remember the past and give proper respect and admiration to those who have led us to where we are today. Brendon looks forward to continuing a dialogue with LGBTQ youth. So I guess what we want to draw people's attention to. Yep, there it is. And you're doing a nice job holding it.
It's such a eye-opening experience. So I did look at the trailer for this documentary, but I did not actually see the documentary. And it's such an experience looking at how, Major really cultivated her life to this, just welcoming and embracing all people, regardless of, their gender or whoever they were. Like, she just didn't care. And to me, that really, stands out within my life, because no matter who I'm talking to, regardless of, how they may identify, they're still a human, and we're still all interconnected. So what really stood out for me with Major is, even though I, as myself, lack resources, like I'm financially not set, to fight against everything, and, but I have a voice. And with that voice, I can speak to millions and, really touch the hearts of anybody who I'm in contact with, which is what Major did.
Hello, everyone. This is not my first time seeing the movie. I wanted to screen it before I actually saw it here, just so I can just kind of take everything in and understand what the movie is truly about, so I can give a proper answer. When I saw this documentary, I was moved. I was like, wow, this woman is very powerful, she's very strong. And not only is she a trans woman, but she's a Black trans woman, so that makes me feel even more empowered. She has taken in different people, have raised different people as her own children, as her grandchildren, as her nieces, as her sons, as her daughters, and it just inspires me because it gives me hope that I can do the same. Just like Miss Major, she doesn't come from much, and I don't come from much either. But just to know that her voice is so powerful, and she doesn't have to change the way that she talks or the way that she speaks, but she just says it, tells it how it is, that inspires me. Because most of the time when I'm on panels discussions. I was actually just talking to one of my bosses at the center, and she said you need to beef up your bio, because most of my bios are like a couple of words, and then everybody else has like what they've done and this, that, and the third, and blah 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 blah, and it's like 5 minutes long. But just to know that Miss Major comes from nothing, and she doesn't come from a strong, like, educated background. You know, she went to college, but like, you know, she got kicked out and everything else like that. It just inspires me just to be who I am and just tell my truth and exactly how it is. So I was just very moved and just very inspired by this movie.
The big takeaway that I got from this is how important it is for us as a community to treat all of us like we are all a family, and we need to support each other above all else. And I love how Ms. Major dedicated like pretty much her whole life to helping one of the most often overlooked parts of the community, which is trans women of color, especially how they're treated in the prison system.
Thank you. Do we have any questions to kick us off? Everybody wants to be the last question. Nobody wants to be the first one.
I can project. Great.
We do ask that you use the microphone.
Oh, wonderful.
Keep it
Can
on.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your responses and reactions to the film and for showing the film. I'm just curious if Cole, I would love to just hear from you about, I heard, in the introduction about you, there was mention of an organization you're a part of. I'm just curious, I think inside it's focused on empowering youth or cultivating people. But I'm curious how that has been a part of your own journey, and if you can shed a little light on your own personal journey and how that organization may have played a role in it, if at all.
So the SGI, I'm sorry, the organization that you're speaking of is the SGI, which is the Soka Buddhist organization. And really the organization, the meaning of it is just, to create value within our own lives. And so, throughout my years of practice, I've undergone tremendous depression, battling with my identity, battling with who I am as an individual. And, regardless of what I was going through and the person that I am, these people that were in this organization embraced me. They embraced me from the fact of my transitioning from a woman to a man. And to me, they were the first people really to embrace me as an individual. And they didn't care about, what I want to call myself. I said, oh, I'm Cole now. And they immediately started calling me Cole. At home it was such a fight. It seemed like every day I was fighting constantly with my mother. Or I just wanted, because we were such good friends, I wanted that friendship back. And it seemed like, in her realizing and me, transitioning, that, every day it's a step towards that. But, through my practice, regardless, because, in the practice of Buddhism, we chant morning and evening, and my determination really is to be my truest self and win over myself, because every day I wake up to challenge myself to be like, I can do this today. I can do this today. And, it's seeing films like this that made me say to myself, I could do this today, and my voice matters, because at one point, my voice did not matter. I felt like I did not matter as being a transgender man. I felt like I didn't matter as a human being. Forget about being a transgender man. I felt like I didn't feel like a human being that wanted to be. So, the people in the SGI have really, really been a focus or a foundation for me to be the best person that I am, because we all need support. We all need friends, regardless. And so, that's a little briefing about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm feeling very emotional. and I've never said this in public, I may cry, but I was 7 years old, my parents were away, and my mother came back to their hotel room and saw my father dressed as a woman. And she divorced him immediately, and the shame and I'm so touched by this film that Major was able to maintain her friendships, her co-parenting, and I see my father was very depressed, and in hearing these voices, like I've been waiting, I'm 64 my whole life for this. Two people we know had surgery to change, and we made our home, one of them was my daughter's, one of her best friends, very welcoming. And what you speak about within your own families, her friend went through. And it was a comfort to me to be able to do that. Well, now he's a him, but when we didn't have any support when I was a child, and it's something I carry. I also want to say that one woman we know, my husband and I went to high school with his parents. He wrote a book, Nicholas Teich, Transgender 101. And he also runs a camp for transgender teens. They purposely don't give out the address, but it's a place, I don't even know so much if they talk about trans, but there's a place if people want to feel welcome, just to be with others like them. He has created that space. And also, and people know me as an environmental health advocate, and I really don't come out locally and say this, but for 30 years as a Jewish woman, I have worked, matter of fact, I just returned from the genital autonomy symposium, and we have worked to educate parents and health professionals on not genitally cutting males,
May I have your
females,
attention,
or
please?
intersex.
The library will be closing in a half hour. Please note that the computers will be shutting down in about 15 minutes. Please save all your work.
I was 30 years old when a friend, before I knew about genital cutting, she said my niece was just born, they're going to reduce her clitoris and give her hormones for the rest of her life. And we feel that somebody should make that decision themselves when they're old enough, but that should not be assigned at birth. And some people, when they reach puberty, they don't feel the gender that they were assigned. So we really advocate for that, and Ida Valoria, who spoke in California a few weeks ago, has written the book Born Both. Her parents did not allow her to have surgery, and it's a very candid book of her sex life and her advocacy, and she has a beautiful, because I used to do a lot of advocacy for birth. She has a beautiful, just a short brochure for parents if they have a child with ambiguous genitalia, if you want to call it that, to support them. So I guess my question is, one of the things we talk about is bathrooms that are standalone, so people don't have to go into a bathroom and feel awkward. And I wonder if in Ossining High School or other places that is happening, and if you have other ways that we locally can support whatever we can do to make it more of a welcoming community for them. Sorry to talk so long.
Thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate it. That was very thoughtful of you to share.
So we actually have amazing news for the high school, where starting next year we're going to be having like a gender-neutral bathroom in the school. It's only one, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And we're going to be having more pronoun education for staff and students. And like we've been fighting for this for so long that it's such an amazing feeling to be able to like see it come to fruition. And because there's so many times where I'm out just like in the world, and like I have my parent like go and check the bathroom, like, hey, are the bathrooms gendered? And the depending on their answer, I might just have to wait in terms of feeling safe enough to go to the bathroom. If I might have to just wait until I go home or until we go to a place where I know there's a gender neutral bathroom. So having something so simple as just a bathroom that isn't gendered is such a small but a huge thing when you don't feel comfortable in either bathroom.
I'll just comment, because since we're talking about gender neutral bathrooms, last fall, I believe it was, New York State changed their building code regulations so that businesses, it used to be until that point, you were required to have a male and female separate and identified as male and female. New York City's got their own rules, and so you've been in New York City bathrooms for years and years in restaurants, but New York State just last fall changed it. Not that they were being sued, but I think they sort of saw the writing on the wall. And so if you go to any new business establishments, in fact, my husband owns one, and they actually put a symbol that is, it's a triangle and a circle that was designed by an organization in California. So they're using that as a gender neutral bathroom symbol. Just there is sort of my point is there's a general understanding and progress on something that most of us don't think about, but is obviously integral to your ability to get through the day without feeling rejected and uncomfortable. So you're gonna, would you mind commenting, because you work with an organization, and there's a series of letters that have grown since I was last paying attention, because we've now added, is it LGBTQ plus or LGBTQIA, and the I stands for intersex, and the A could be allies? Okay.
So, where I'm from, we don't actually have the luxury of having that right now. Hopefully soon we will. I'm looking to infiltrate the school system as much as possible this year. That's one of my main goals with the center, because I believe in youth, and I believe in educating the youth, and I believe that they are the future, and you can't really teach an old dog new tricks, so why try? I understand where you come from as far as using the bathroom and feeling comfortable in your own skin. I remember the first time I went into a woman's bathroom to use it, I was so nervous, but I felt liberated at the same time. And I know for everyone that's not the best thing. I know for everyone they can't do that. Some people are necessarily more passing than other people. So some people may feel more comfortable in this way, and other people may feel comfortable, in this bathroom. But I think that for explaining for my city and my town schools, hopefully soon we will have it, and we continue to move forward in that. I've spoken at different our various satellite high schools, and they seem really, really interested in it. My uncle, he's the head of security, and we talk all the time about the growth and the different changes in the students as far as them being more open and free to be who they are. So hopefully soon we will have more gender neutral bathrooms in our school systems. So.
Don't give up on us. I feel compelled to say that.
And I mean, I don't mean to say you can't teach the old dog new tricks as far as you can't as far as educate other people, but I feel my focus necessarily why I'm put here is for you. I feel that very, very strongly ever since I was younger. That's who I've been connected with. I feel a lot of times I get a lot of resistance from older folks. I mean, I have folks that I talk to and things that have changed their minds, but I feel a lot of times people are set in their ways and this, that, and third. So, I mean, I do educate and I do talk to everyone as much as possible, and I do give as much as feedback as I can, but I feel my focus kind of more is on you. So.
I'm not going to beat the bathroom into the ground. We all know what bathrooms are. I just don't understand. It's a very simple process. It's a stall. We all have to go to the bathroom. So it really, bathrooms to me, I've scratched my head about it for years, and really having the confidence just to be oh, sorry, I'm going to the bathroom, For a while I'd be I gotta hold it. It's unhealthy to hold your urine and hold yourself going to the bathroom all day. So, you know, I've been very fortunate to, you know, work in, you know, establishments that are very gender neutral bathrooms. It's okay, it's fine. However, there are places when you have to go, gas station or whatever. Me as a, you know, transgender male, I've learned to basically use what I got and do what I have to do. You know, you can, you know, there's different types of things that you could use to go to the bathroom, being transgender, of course. But there are some people that are just, you just learn how to just move with the time. And yeah, I'm not going to beat the bathroom for that. So.
More questions?
Thinking of that A in your organization's list, what would you like the allies to know? What would you like to tell them?
It's funny, I had this question the other day, and the guy asked me, how can he help his friends, you know, become allies? And I gave him a short list of things to do. One, stand up for us when no one else is looking. It's really, really easy for you to stand up in our face and tell us that you're with us and that you're for us and you want to rock with us and all that good stuff. But it's different from when you are in the dark and you're in the shadows and you're in your home and you know, your friend says something very, very smart, or they comment on, you know, the bathroom bills and different things like that, and you just let it slide and you don't say anything. You know, that's when you're not an ally. That's when you don't become an ally. You know, I need you to stand up for me when no one else is looking. Because if you're trying to stand up for me when just because I'm looking, then I don't need you at all. I believe that sometimes allies need to learn how to be quiet and just listen. Just be still, just listen. Everything is not for you, it's not because of you. You don't have to necessarily understand everything. Sometimes you won't understand everything, so just let it rock. I also believe that you're just showing proper respect as far as pronouns, that you show proper respect as just being willing more to learn, you know, with an open heart and an open mind. Come with your questions, ask questions so you can learn. And I believe that that's how you become a good ally, you know, by just standing with us in the dark. So.
A quick note on like pronouns is a lot of times when like you first come out to people, like people are gonna make mistakes. Like at least in my opinion, if you make a mistake, like don't make a big scene about it. Like don't like throw your arms and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm still learning, I'm still new to this. The best thing to do is to just be like, oh, sorry, correct yourself and just keep going.
Thank you, Brendon. That's good advice.
I just want to add one more thing. And it's not as hard as you may think as far as like, you know, just changing your mindset. As far as somebody turns from 6 to 7, you say they're 7 now, right? You don't say they're still 6. So you can do it, you just have to put in your mind that you're willing to do it.
Thank you. I just wanted to give folks a heads up. We have time probably for one more question, and we'll ask our panelists for some final thoughts, and also panelists, if there's any programs or events that you have coming up that you want to let us know about, you'll have a chance to plug those before the next day. So we have time for one more question. Sir?
One of the things I learned in the movie that I found particularly interesting was that Ms. Majors had gotten her political consciousness.
Can I hear you?
Oh,
No, just hold it closer. Hold
Okay.
it comfortably close.
good.
Yes.
Sorry. Learning that Ms. Majors had been politicized by the leaders of the Attica Uprising got me thinking about, and her thinking, about how the oppression of trans people is part of multiple structures of oppression in the country. And I wonder to what extent, as you engage in your political activity, you feel supported by other liberation movements And to what extent you see a future in coordination among the various oppressed groups in this country that are seeking liberation?
So the main thing that my center works on is the main thing that my center works on is racism. The white supremacy we talk about all the time. We talk about the culture. We talk about what racism actually means, the construct of it, and the breakdown of it. That's one thing that my center is here for, and we speak about, and we want to abolish, and we want to create awareness of it to realize what racism actually really is. So we feel that if we necessarily take down racism and people understand, what it actually means, the social construct will break down with it, because you have to realize that everyone is living under a white male cisgender, living with their mindset, and not necessarily of anyone else under them. So that's one thing that we are pro for, and we are, I guess, geared towards. I guess it's a rights movement and stuff like that kind of empowers that. So I hope that answers your question.
A big part of moving forward and getting more legislation, more public support is the people in power want to keep minority groups squabbling against each other, and the most important thing is all different minority groups, we need to come together and support each other so that we can all move each other up and help project our voices so that everyone can hear us, all of us.
So,
May I have your attention, please? The library will be closing in 10 minutes. If you have any items you wish to check out, please bring them to the circulation desk now. The library will be open tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you and have a good evening.
so very quickly. So in various lifetimes that I've had, I call them lifetimes, I've been a part of different organizations and protests. But the interlocking and what I saw in all of them was the humanism based, right? So really, who am I in this protest? Who am I in this organization? And my visibility actually can change the dynamic of what actually happens. So when, in various, places, where I might be there, the only black trans man or the only black person, period, I feel that I give voice to that just by, being able to, voice my opinion or voice what I stand for and who I am as a person. So I really believe, that, unity would be the best interlocking, of course, of us, coming together, and it just doesn't end at unity, but also having dialogue and being able to engage with one another. I think that could be the core of us changing as a people.
Thank you. All right, if you have any final thoughts, and otherwise, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks so much for being part of our panel. Was there anything else you wanted to share, or any final thoughts, or any programs you have to plug?
Just if you look up for my the community center, the Newburgh LGBTQ Plus Center on Facebook, you can like us, and you can see all the events that we're having up in Newburgh. We're actually having a Prince tribute party this Saturday to tribute Prince. So we're definitely gonna have a good time, and the drag queens are gonna be out, performances and all that good stuff. And then at the end of the month, we're actually having a community meeting to hear the voices of everyone, not just Newburgh, but the surrounding areas also. So if you like us on Facebook, just let us know, or you want us to, come out to your event, or, even have training for you guys and different things like that, because we're actually building up our curriculum. We would love to come and talk to you, so like us on Facebook, okay?
Thank you very much.
In the video, I saw that there was signing going on, and I'm actually studying ASL, which I really loved. And the sign for transgender, I think, really encompasses what it means to be trans, because it combines the sign for beautiful, yourself, and become. So it's like that, where it's beautiful, myself, and become. So it's like being trans means you're becoming your beautiful self.
Thank you.
So, yeah, in July 14th and 15th in Peekskill, I'm a part of an artist collective named Powerhouse. So we're going to have an artist festival that basically is to really bring about and kick off the underrepresented artists that are in, Westchester community and Peekskill community, and there also will be a discussion panel as well. So if you want to know more about that, you can just talk to me, and it'll also be on Instagram and Facebook as well. We're still working on it. Also, I guess my final words, or the final pieces, is that I don't know who here is in the health field. That to me is really a big, seems to be a big issue as of right now, because a lot of us, me myself, I have, in going through my transition, I always find myself always tracking to the city and going to Callan Lord. And they're a beautiful organization. It's beautiful there, people are beautiful. However, something here needs to be said for people, of all identities and, transgender, because, you can't get your tea, you can't get seen. It feels like it's very uncomfortable. The bedside manner here in Westchester sucks. I'm just being honest. And so I don't feel comfortable being seen here, so I go all the way to the city every time I need something done. And, if anyone here wants to talk to me more about that later, and is from the health field and has any recommendations, please talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Could
Thank
you
you to all of
just
our...
repeat the name of the place in New York City that...
Callan Lord.
Callan Lord.
We'll have
Callan
we'll have a
Lord.
moment to connect here at the end too. So if we could just thank you very much to our panelists for joining us. Thank you to everyone for being engaged. Please join us next month on July 19th for our screening. Don't tell anyone. Okay, and thank you. If you folks could